Hello students. Today we'll be discussing about some concepts of marketing. I'm Dr. Parveen Singh Kalsi, Associate Professor, GNA Business School. And today we'll be talking about certain marketing concepts related to marketing orientations and the marketing environment. So when we talk about marketing, marketing is generally considered as a social and managerial process by which individuals and groups obtain what they look for in terms of needs and wants, wherein the marketeer creates, offers, and provide value to the customers, which customers resultantly exchange in terms of price. Therefore, we can say that marketing is all about understanding the needs and wants of the customers. In turn, there are efforts which are laid upon for making long term relationships. Marketing is generally considered as meeting needs profitably. Thus, we can say that a company who is able to identify the needs and wants of the customers more aptly and convincingly would be able to earn more value from the market. Similarly, it is generally said that marketing is the process to create value for the customers and capture value in return in terms of profitability or sales. For example, if we consider Amazon, Amazon focuses on convenience and personalized service. Amazon is one of the formidable brands in Indian domain which has a strong presence in the e-commerce industry, wherein Amazon focuses and emphasizes on providing convenience and personalized service to the customers, so they have made a transition in their purchase and preferences. Similarly, Apple emphasizes on innovation and customer experience. iPhones offered by Apple, they are considered to be one of the best in terms of product design, which Apple focuses on by continuously upgrading their product design by offering superior value, enhanced features, thus are able to attract the customer with a larger product type and product features. When we talk about Zomato, Zomato is able to bridge the restaurants with customers by providing them the convenience that they are looking for. Zomato and brands such as Swiggy, they have disrupted the market wherein they have provided a convenience to the customers so they can order anything in the meal what they are looking for, and they'll be provided to them at their doorsteps. So from this we can understand that marketing is nothing else but identifying the customers needs and then making efforts to provide value to them. Now we'll talk about different type of marketing orientations. Prior to that, we must understand that what marketing orientation is. Marketing orientation refers to the managerial philosophy or orientation that directs how an organization envisions, plans, and executes their business activities in a more systematic manner to achieve what they have envisioned. It is basically a systematic process for identifying and analyzing the consumer needs, preferences, prevailing market demands, and trends. Thus, the company can take into consideration with respect to their orientation and move more stronger in the market. If you talk about company's overall mindset, it depends upon the philosophy what they are looking for. They can enter into aggressive sales, they can enter into enhancing their product design, they can enter into being socially cognizant with the consumers by offering environmental friendly products. So let's say one by one, we must understand how the marketing has evolved over the period of time. The first orientation which the marketing landscape witnessed was the production orientation. Production orientation assumes that consumer will primarily prefer and support products which are affordable and are easily available in the marketplace, meaning thereby as they are affordable, thus they will be available in abundance. Companies they generally focus on manufacturing efficiency, large scale production. Through large scale production, they attempt to decrease the per unit cost. Thus, they are minimizing the cost which is attached to the customers in terms of price. So, if it becomes inexpensive to the customers, so customers would have preference for the product, and with a larger distribution network, they'll be able to be in the consumer's mindset. This type of orientation generally works with developing countries or segments or geographical areas which are price sensitive. This orientation talks about making efforts to provide the product at a larger scale through mass efforts, wherein there is mass production and products are standardized and available in an inexpensive price manner. For example, in Indian domain, Amul focuses on mass production and affordable dairy products. Thus, they are enhancing their reach so they can be with all the customer segments across the nation. Similarly, Reliance Jio, the best and the formidable telecom brand, initially focused on large scale, low cost telecom service providence to capture the market. Reliance Jio is one of the brand which has disrupted the telecom market through their efforts by providing the low cost telecom services. Thus, residents across the nation they become used to the service provider, and then they were able to gain the larger market share in the Indian domain. Next, when we talk about product orientation, what is the basic difference between production and product orientation? Product orientation generally favors products which are best in terms of quality, have enhanced features, provide continuous improvement or innovation in their products. Whereas when you talk about the production concept talks about standardization. Product orientation primarily focuses upon continuous product improvement and periodic research and development endeavors. Through the R&D endeavors, the company is able to prepare the best of the product which can be offered to the customers to serve their higher level needs. Companies which primarily believe in product orientation presumes that a superior product will attract customers naturally because most of the customers they look for better or enhanced product. A product which is superior in terms of product design or with enhanced features will generally be able to attract the mindset of the customers with respect to a low quality product or a standardized product. For example, Tata Motors, in specific, Tata Nexon EV, emphasizes on technology and safety features, thus, they are able to distinguish themselves from others in the market. Similarly, Infosys, the IT giant, they heavily invest in service quality and enhanced IT solutions. So, it is primarily for both products and services if they are able to offer the superior value in terms of utility, usefulness, and innovative mindset that can enrich the consumer's need and usability preferences, then customers will be attracted towards the product orientation. Next, so up till now we learned about the production orientation, the product orientation. Now we'll focus upon the selling or sales orientation. It is generally considered in the marketplace that all the products don't have the same level of selling capability, and not all the products are able to have the same kind of sales volume. Thus, it is generally presumed that consumers will not buy enough unless products are aggressively promoted and pushed, meaning thereby some of the products may remain unsold in the markets, or some of the products are generally considered as unsought products. Thus, this orientation emphasizes on having efforts in terms of advertising, sales promotion, and personal selling through aggressive mindset, which will be able to make the products available with the customers in the same manner which the company has thought of. Therefore, it works well for unsought products because products such as insurance or charity donation or funeral services may not have the need in the normal parlance with the customers. It is generally considered that the penetration rate of health insurance is way less as compared to the penetration rate of having smartphones. Thus, if the sales of insurance has to be pushed, the insurance company must rely strongly on their sales agent and having persuasive selling and advertisement strategies, which would be able to make them more sizable in the marketplace by enhancing their sales volume. Similarly, the real estate projects, which only be able to see revenue stream once they are able to have pertinent promotional campaigns, sales promotion offers, and likewise aggressive personal selling. If personal selling is not taken into consideration, some of the sales efforts will remain otherwise. They'll act as the unfutile measures. So, to make it productive, the sales or the selling orientation talks about having aggressive mindset in terms of advertisement, sales promotion, and personal selling. Moving further to the next orientation, we'll now talk about marketing orientation. Marketing orientation primarily focuses upon understanding the consumer needs and then preparing or designing the product in such a manner that the product or the service would be able to satisfy the needs of the consumers in a better way as compared to competitors. By this, it is meant that the success of a marketing organization or a business organization or a brand is dependent upon delivering customer value and building long term relationships. The marketing orientation presumes that it is more important to segment, target, and position the product according to the customer's need. Therefore, it is more important to conduct pertinent marketing research and consumer research to identify the needs and preferences of the customers. For example, Flipkart has analyzed primarily the consumer preferences and they have provided their tailor made deals accordingly. Could be the flash deal where they are offering products at a far inexpensive prices which are able to attract the customers across the nation. Similarly, Maruti Suzuki, the formidable brand in the automotive segment in India, has grown leaps and bounds in terms of offering car models based on Indian middle class needs. So there are many models, there are many car makes which Maruti has designed and they are now available in the market space, which generally caters to the middle segment and their needs. So primarily what the marketeer is doing in the marketing orientation, they are focusing upon the consumer needs and then resultantly preparing products or services accordingly which can satisfy the needs of the consumers. Moving to the last orientation, the societal marketing orientation. This orientation primarily believes that it is the duty of the businesses and marketeers to also ensure the well being of the society. Businesses, general public, marketeers, customers, stakeholders, they all are the constituents to the society. And it is more importantly the role of the businesses to fulfill the customer's need, yes, but at the same time should also think about preserving and enhancing the societal values and societal standards. Thus, this societal marketing orientation integrates social welfare, sustainability, and ethical responsibility. By sustainability, we mean that it could be ecological preservation, it could be enhancing the ecological standards, it could be valuing the eco cycle and safeguarding it to the best possible extent, decreasing the depletion of ozone layer, reducing the deforestation, reducing the pollution in terms of air, soil, and water. Thus, businesses they now take their own responsibility, either ethical or as a part of the CSR endeavor, where they have some business practices and programs implemented for achieving long term sustainability and continuous growth across the society. For example, ITC eChopar, they talks about empowering farmers with technology, and they also guide them with respect to the fair pricing effort. Thus, they are enriching the mindset of the farmers for having a better crop yield and enhancing their living and lifestyle also. Similarly, Tata Steel, one of the largest steel manufacturers, and Biocon, one of the better biopharmaceutical company, they both focuses strongly on sustainability and community development. We need to bridge a society, we need to prepare a society as marketers and businesses so that the customers and other stakeholders, including general public, may be able to witness all the resources with sustainable commitment for the future time period. Now, what we studied up till now, we talked about 5 orientations: from production to product, from product to selling, from selling to marketing, and then from marketing to societal marketing. Now we'll move to the next concept which is used in marketing as the primary purpose, that is the marketing environment. Any marketing effort endeavored by any organization or marketer depends primarily on analyzing the marketing environment. The strategies can only remain fruitful if they are able to be implemented in terms of thorough analysis based upon the marketing environment parameters. So we'll first understand what the marketing environment is. Marketing environment is generally considered as the sum total of controllable and uncontrollable factors, which serves as the factors which may influence the organization strategies and their implementation. Controllable and uncontrollable factors may provide companies with opportunities in terms of growth and innovation, and at the same time may also pose some threat in terms of competition and regulations. So, analyzing and understanding the marketing environment will help the company to serve customers more comprehensively. For example, fast food chains operate with a purpose to provide convenience and instant delivery. Thus, they must have understood the marketing mindset of the customers in terms of factors which are influencing the fast food segment. Similarly, EV industry, electric vehicles, they primarily have seen opportunity and threat in terms of manufacturing. Thus, most of the EV manufacturers are now considering an option to have their manufacturing plant for preparing and manufacturing the EV batteries on their own. So, for every company, there may exist some opportunity, there may exist some threats. They both have to be meaningfully analyzed for implementing the policies in a likewise manner. So we first understand what the features of marketing environment are all about. Marketing environment is generally considered to be dynamic. Why dynamic? Because it constantly changes with respect to consumer trends, preferences, technology, and other parameters. So, understanding the preferences of the customers is all the more important. Likewise, it is also considered to be complex because there are many interdependent forces which are acting and which are making it more interdependent and thus making it more complex to be analyzed. For example, if we talk about COVID 19 influenced the demand along with impacted the supply chains, and thus the online business simultaneously adopted these parameters and then re emphasized their strategies. They replanned it and they reactioned everything. The companies which are able to react timely, they'll be able to see through the light. The companies which are not able to adapt to the environment strongly, they'll not be able to seize the opportunity from the market. Marketing environment is again generally considered to be relative in nature because it varies across industries, segments, cultures, domains in terms of preferences. If we talk about McDonald's offer menu differs with respect to the menu which is offered in US. Could be McAloo Tikki Burger in India and Big Mac in US. Similarly, the marketing environment generally remains uncertain because future cannot be predicted with utmost certainty. The changes may take place and future is hard to predict with precision. There could be a change in policy regulation, likewise sudden ban on TikTok may disrupt the influencer marketing and their strategies. Again, a restriction by the government can impose a certain type of constraint. So, understanding the macro forces and understanding the variables, how they impact your business, understanding it, envisioning the same, planning in a meaningful manner would be able to help you understand the marketeer perspective in a much stronger way. Marketing environment is primarily interdependent. Shift in one factor would be able to have a resultant influence on other factors. For example, if we talk about smartphones have succeeded in the contemporary era. Many of us are using smartphones. There are many opportunities which have been created with respect to the digital technology, telecommunication services, because people have adapted towards smartphone. Could be Google Pay and other payment apps, or could be online shopping, could be travel booking, could be any other segment. Because the segment has reacted strongly in consonance with the adaptation of smartphones, thus, the smartphones have been much more favorable in terms of advancement because they have adapted themselves with respect to technology, with respect to affordability, and they are also aligning themselves with the social trends. Thus, they are making it more comprehensive. So, analyzing a strategy not only takes the individual company perspective, company is also a participant to the segment and the domain. Relatively understanding it by understanding the interdependent forces would be able to provide a better clarity. Now, we'll talk about the types of marketing environment. When we talk about marketing environment, it is generally divided into two parts: internal environment and external environment. Internal environment is generally controllable in the sense because it is the environment of the company where company can manage their resources, the employee strength, their characteristics. The company would be able to enhance their brand value in terms of repute and earn more equity from the market, and can also have the strength to adapt the corporate culture with the changing preferences. The external environment is generally considered as uncontrollable because they constitute some variables and factors which are over and above the company's strength in identifying and taking into consideration the factors which generally falls within the preview. Could be the micro environment or the macro environment. Factors such as customers, competitors, suppliers, or intermediaries. At the macro level, it could be political, economical, social, technological, legal, environmental. So, we'll talk about all this in detail to understand how the types of marketing environment have impact on the marketing strategies. We'll first talk about the internal environment. In internal environment, it comprises of company resources. Company is dependent upon several type of resources. It could be financial, physical, technological assets, resources in terms of skill, which can be fruitful to the company if the company is able to utilize them well. For example, Reliance used their strong financial resources to disrupt the telecom pricing. Similarly, employees. The workforce is the strength of the organization. The employees, they are the strength of the organization because they possess skills, knowledge, and the motivation drive to make the organization succeed in the future time period. So, for example, Google, one of the best brands across the globe, they invest in the employee innovation culture and they give the freedom to the employees to innovate with precision. Similarly, brand image. Brand image is basically the perception and the reputation of the company in the market across various stakeholders. A company having a pertinent brand image would be able to have a reflection with the customers. It could be, for example, Apple, it leverages the premium brand positioning because of their market reputation for iPhones. Corporate culture. Corporate culture is basically the term which can encompass the philosophy, shared values, beliefs, and practices within an organization that guide the behavior of employees and stakeholders within the organization. The best of the corporate culture would be resultantly provide the best of the organizational results in terms of efficiency and effectiveness. Emphasizes primarily on ethics and transparency in the IT services to make it more comprehensive within their organization to support the employees and the stakeholders. Now, we will talk about the external environment. First, we'll talk about the micro level factors, then we'll talk about the macro level factors. Micro factors generally constitute factors which are at the lower level or present at the individual level. So the first of the factor is customers. Customers, they comprise the target audience whose needs and preferences drive the business decisions for the company. For example, Maruti Suzuki generally identify the preference of the customer in terms of fuel efficient cars which are affordable. Thus it influences their product design and they are able to make the compact product design with the best of the interiors available to the customers in an affordable price manner, and the customers, they prefer it. Similarly, why competitors are important. If a business is able to understand the rival firms offering similar products or services, then the company would be able to analyze their marketing strategy better and in a meaningful manner. For example, Paytm competes with PhonePe, Google Pay. They'll be able to make their strategies in accordance with the competitors by analyzing their strategies and their trends in the marketplace. This gives more realistic mindset to the businesses and the marketers. Similarly, when we talk about suppliers, suppliers provide the raw material support in terms of inputs, services, components, and the parts which are required for manufacturing purposes to the company. When we talk about suppliers, they play a crucial role in strengthening the manufacturing processes of the company. Timely availability of high quality resource in terms of raw material input will be able to strengthen the product design and the manufacturing capability. Similarly, for example, automobile companies, they generally depend upon semiconductor suppliers. Shortage disrupt production, thus they'll be able to take into consideration. Next, intermediaries. Intermediaries are generally the forward agents. Could be distributor, could be retailer, could be dealer, could be carrying and forwarding agent who connects the company to the customers. For example, Amazon act as a distributor for small businesses selling their product through online efforts to the customers. And lastly, at the micro level, it is the public which is taken into consideration. Public constitutes the group or communities that influence directly or indirectly the public activities. If the general public perception towards the company is favorable, then the brand repute of the company is generally taken to be the best in the business. If the mindset and the perspective of the public changes, then it means the company would need to analyze their strategies in a more efficient manner because they are not considered likewise by the public entities. Now, we'll talk about the external environment. That is the macro factors. Now, what are the macro factors? Macro factors for external environment generally constitute the factors that are present at the aggregate level or at the macro level, meaning thereby at the larger level. Factors such as political, economic, social, they would be able to drive the marketing strategies, influence and affect the marketing strategies. Thus, it becomes all the more important for the companies to talk about them in detail. Then, talking about the political factors. Factors such as government policies, regulation, the business provisions, stability of the government, it is able to provide the business operations the strength what they are looking for. Example, GST reforms in India simplified the business taxation purposes, making it more efficient and more strengthened. Thus, it is more conducive for the businesses, small and medium, now to operate in an efficient manner in the Indian domain. Similarly, economic factors such as inflation, consumer price index, interest rate, income levels, they influence the demand and the supply. The rising fuel prices may tend to reduce the demand of the petrol cars and resultantly at the same time would be able to boost the EVs. The economic factor again would be able to have an understanding with disposable income. So higher the disposable income, higher the earnings would again be able to have a reflection on consumers at the individual level. But at the same time, if inflation keeps on increasing, then the consumer price index will resultantly be on higher side, which will be taken in a negative perspective. Similarly, social factors which constitute demographics, which include age, gender, education, income, occupation, marital status, rural urban background, number of children, they would be able to impact the strategies of the organization. Now, there is a general trend where the shift has been from the rural segment to the urban segment, from the tier 3, tier 2 cities to the metro towns, from the tier 3 cities, tier 2 cities to the state capital or to the national capital, where the customers they are more in tune with better lifestyle, living standards, and cultures which are shaping their preferences. For example, understanding the rise of fitness culture, it has certainly enhanced the demand for digital gadgets such as Fitbit watches. So, the companies which are able to take into consideration the political, economic, and social factor would be able to consider some meaningful measures where they would be able to have the resultant impact in a likewise credential. Continuing with the macro factors at the external level for the organization should also consider technological factors, which include product design, continuous product improvements, and advancement in technologies, which would be able to impact the production and the consumer mindset. With the changing time and preferences, the consumers are becoming more adaptive towards new technologies and processes. Thus, companies which are offering the product advancements and improvements, they are generally considered the favorites among the customers. For example, banks are now using AI chatbots for providing 24 into 7 customer support, which was earlier being provided by the tele-executive support, which was not 24 into 7. Similarly, the legal framework, parameters, and attributes which are considered to be the part and provisions of legal frameworks, legal restrictions, laws, they govern the companies, how they operate their businesses in a particular country or nation. Talking about the regulatory framework, they also fall under the purview of the legal framework. So once the companies are able to understand the legal provisions and the regulatory framework, they'll be able to be more adjustable in the marketplace in a particular nation's boundary, because they are able to analyze what they have to do and what they are supposed not to be a part of. For example, in the recent time period, data protection has become more important because most of us are now having our records, information, and data available with us on our smartphones, and we generally download various apps. Thus, protecting the data and maintaining its privacy become the utmost concern. So, if there is Data Protection Act which forces the company to secure the customer information, now this becomes the primary effort on the part of the company to comply and abide it. Last, in external environment at the macro level, environment plays an important role, which constitutes again the ecological considerations and sustainability issues which we talked earlier also. The responsibility of the business is just not to earn profitability, but to provide customers and society a better place where they can live and envision better for their future generations. Thus, companies are now having practices and following certain best methodologies which are now providing environmental considerations. Thus, they can grow their affinity with the customers. For example, Coca-Cola invests in recyclable packaging due to ecological consideration. Similarly, companies have reduced their emissions or pollutants which they used to exit in sea or air or water, because they are now talking about preserving the natural resources as far as possible. It could be helping plantation of trees, or it could be reduction in the deforestation, it could be providing a natural and organic alternate to the earlier existing products. So if the companies are taking into consideration the factors which are present at the macro and micro level for the external environment. Towards the end, now we must understand what is the importance of marketing environment, analyzing it. Analysis of marketing environment helps us to identify the opportunities and threats. Netflix spotted an opportunity and is now considered as one of the best OTT service providers. Now, the trend has changed and no one is now looking for renting the DVD or the VCD, which earlier used to be the practice in India. Analyzing the marketing environment also helps the strategic planning because it helps an organization to envision what they wish to achieve in the future time period. Example, Starbucks expanded in India after analyzing and understanding the coffee consumption trends in India by studying the customer preferences. Similarly, marketing environment and its synthesis helps the company to remain competitive in the marketplace by having the strategies and implementing the plans which can make them be ahead in the marketplace as compared to their competitors. Next, the marketing environment analysis also helps the company to understand the customer perspective in terms of feedback, in terms of analyzing the grievance. Thus, the approach towards having satisfied customers, it is on a higher side. Thus, it enhances the customer satisfaction because the company is now looking through pertinent ways to decrease the customer annoyance or satisfaction or the grievance level. The marketing environment synthesis also ensures long-term sustainability because it provides company the mindset to just not to talk about today but to plan for future, anticipate the day after tomorrow and the future time period so as to remain competitive, sustainable and progressive in times to come. So students, in today's lecture what we have discussed, we talked about marketing orientations and we talked about the marketing environment. So we end today's lecture over here. Thank you and we'll now meet in the next class. Thank you everyone.